Let us begin with a situation that may feel very familiar to you. You sit down to study for tomorrow's math test with the full intention of concentrating, but after only a few minutes, your thoughts move somewhere else. First, you begin thinking about lunch, then perhaps a cricket match, then a message from a friend, then your plans for the weekend. At first, this can feel frustrating. You may wonder, why can I not just stay focused? But this is exactly where we begin this module, not by blaming the mind, but by understanding it. The important idea here is simple. Your brain is designed to wander. That does not mean you are lazy, careless, or bad at studying. It means your mind naturally shifts between paying attention to what is in front of you and thinking about other things. This happens to everyone. In this module, we are going to explore why that happens, what is going on in the brain when it happens, and how understanding it can help you become more focused without being harsh on yourself. So, rather than seeing mind wandering as a problem to fight, we will start by seeing it as something normal to understand. Now that we have started with a real-life example of the wandering mind, let us look at what we will cover in this lesson. First, we will talk about focus mode. This is the mental state you use when you are paying attention to something on purpose, such as solving a math problem, listening carefully in class, or reading a chapter for homework. Next, we will explore autopilot mode. This is when your mind is not fully focused on the present task and begins drifting into thoughts, memories, plans, or daydreams. This mode is also active when you do things automatically, without much awareness. Then we will introduce something called the default mode network. The name may sound scientific, but we will explain it in a very simple way. You can think of it as a set of brain areas that becomes active when your mind is not focused on an outside task and starts turning inward toward thoughts, imagination, and reflection. We will also discuss why mind wandering is normal. This is an important part of the lesson because many students assume that losing focus means something is wrong with them. In reality, mind wandering is a regular part of how the human brain works. Together, these topics will help you see that attention is not just about trying harder. It is about understanding how the mind naturally moves. Once you understand that, you are in a much stronger position to train your attention skillfully. This simple visual shows an important pattern: focus mode, then autopilot mode, then back to focus mode. Why is this useful? Because it reminds us that attention is not usually a straight line. Most of the time, the mind moves back and forth. You focus for a while, then your attention drifts, and then at some point you notice it and return. That cycle is a normal part of mental life. In fact, one of the biggest misunderstandings about focus is the idea that successful students never get distracted. That is not true. Even highly focused people experience drifting thoughts. The difference is that they learn to notice the shift sooner and guide their attention back more calmly. So this visual is not showing failure. It is showing the natural rhythm of the mind. Focus is followed by drifting, and drifting can be followed by returning. That return is very important. In mindfulness practice, noticing that your mind has wandered and bringing it back is not a mistake. It is actually part of the training. As we move forward, keep this image in mind. The goal is not to force the mind to stay fixed all the time. The goal is to become more aware of where your attention is and to learn how to bring it back when it wanders. Now let us make this personal. Think for a moment, when does your mind wander the most? Is it during homework when the task feels difficult or boring? Is it while reading, when your eyes move across the page but your thoughts are somewhere else? Is it before sleeping, when the day becomes quiet and your mind suddenly fills with memories, worries, or plans? Or does it happen during conversations, when someone is speaking but your attention slips away? This reflection matters because mind wandering does not happen in exactly the same way for everyone. For some students, it appears most when they are stressed. For others, it happens when they are tired, distracted by technology, emotionally upset, or simply uninterested in the task. By noticing your own patterns, you begin to understand your mind more clearly. That self-awareness is the first step toward improving attention. Before you can train focus, you need to recognize when and where focus tends to break. This reflection also connects with the earlier slides. We have seen that the brain naturally shifts between focus mode and autopilot mode. Now you are beginning to observe how that shift happens in your own daily life. That is a very important skill in mindfulness, not judging yourself, but observing honestly. Let us end this short lesson with the main idea you should remember. Mind wandering is a feature of the brain, not a flaw. This means that when your attention drifts, it does not automatically mean that something is wrong with you. It does not mean you are weak, unmotivated, or incapable of learning. It means you have a human brain, and human brains naturally move between focus and wandering. This key takeaway brings together everything we have discussed. We started with the example of studying for a test and getting distracted. Then we looked at the two broad mental states, focus mode and autopilot mode. We also introduced the idea that the brain has systems, such as the default mode network, that support inward thinking and mind wandering. Finally, you reflected on when this happens most in your own life. The reason this matters is very hopeful. If mind wandering is a normal brain feature, then you do not need to feel ashamed of it. Instead, you can learn to work with it. Mindfulness and meditation will help you notice wandering earlier, return attention more gently, and build stronger focus over time. So as we move into the next part of the course, carry this idea with you. The goal is not to have a perfect mind. The goal is to understand your mind and train it with patience.